Hello, welcome. It's been a little bit since I've done readings. I ended up taking a little bit of an unintentional break or some time away from doing readings. And so, in that time, there's been quite a few interesting developments happening in the reality. And so I want to look into just the general overall landscape of what's going on, and perhaps we'll see what's going on in the collective also. And I also want to mention that, in this time that I've been away, I think it's been about 2 weeks or so since my last reading. And I think I speak for myself and the collective when I say that energetically, things have been getting quite intense in terms of all the political situations, the wars, blah, blah, blah. We already know all of those things. So I'm really interested to know what's going on with the collective, because I feel that I know for myself. Some readings ago, I talked a bit about being industrious and being creative and getting things done, in terms of manifesting the things that we want to do and things that we want to create in our lives and in our realities. And I know that I have been very industrious, and I'm so happy with the things that I've been creating in the time that I've been focusing on those things instead of reading tarot and things like that. So I hope the same is true for the collective. I really do think it's true based on the things that I've been seeing out here going on. So let's go ahead and start pulling some cards. I'm going to pull 3 as usual, and let's get an idea of what's happening out there. So I've already pre-shuffled, so we'll go ahead and just start pulling from the top, and I will pull and then read as I usually do. So let's see. The Weasel and Pine, introspection. So already I have a change of energies from before. Let's see if that remains true. The Eel and Iris, safety. I feel I already know where this is going. Let's see. The Martin and Foxglove, mischief. Oh, how cute. So, with that Martin and mischief in the mix, that's giving me a few different things going on here. So, let me think of... Okay, sorry about that. I was looking at the cards to kind of get an idea of what I feel this spread is telling me, because these first two, introspection and safety, I feel that the collective has been taking a very long time to sit with themselves, to sit with ourselves in isolation. That has been a very huge theme. I think that many of us have been in isolation for a long time, years for some of us, right? And in that isolation, we have taken the time to really be with ourselves, right? Introspecting, really learning ourselves and who we are in this reality, who we have been, and really doing away with the negative effects of living in such a reality, right? We have had to deal with being kind of a false version of ourselves in this reality. And so in taking this time to be introspective, we have discovered who we truly are when we are not being negatively influenced by this reality. And so with this safety here, I feel that the collective is really feeling far more secure in not only ourselves, but also just in our personal lives, our personal situations. And with this mischief card now, I'm feeling that, the negative entities in this reality have done so much to cause us harm, right? They're always out here causing all kinds of mischief, making trouble and causing issues. We've talked about this in previous readings, right? And so I feel that the collective has now come to a place where we feel far safer in our day-to-day lives. And that doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't any mischief going on out there in the reality. But, with eels being slippery creatures that are also capable of electrocuting their predators or their prey even, what that signals to me is that not only are we feeling safer, we're feeling far more protective of ourselves. We've learned to keep that mischief out of our personal spaces to the best of our ability, right? We are not allowing mischief to come into our spaces in the way that we may have in the past, right? In previous years and in the times that have passed, maybe 5, 10, 15 years, we were very different people, right? We dealt with a lot of negativity coming from people we thought were our friends, our family, our loved ones, people we really truly cared about. And those people really came into our lives and caused a great deal of mischief. And so now, with this eel, as I mentioned, the electric eel anyway, not every eel is like this, but I'm getting the image of the electric eel here, because the electric eel will electrocute what touches it, right? And so the energy of the collective now is very much, don't come near me, do not try me, don't come over here with your mischief, because it's not gonna work out, okay? We are in our safe spaces. I've talked about that also in our hermit mode, in our kind of caves or cubby holes. And I'm saying that because all of these animal heres are burrowing creatures, which means all of these creatures hide themselves in burrows or holes or rocks, things like that. And so we are very much keeping ourselves in those safe zones. And anything that's trying to come along and cause mischief, it's not allowed. It's no longer allowed in our space, okay? But I also feel that this mischief, it's giving me a feeling that it's giving me two things. This thing is kind of double-sided for me, because the foxglove is also a double-sided plant. Foxglove is technically a poison, but foxglove is also a plant that is used in heart medicines. It has the chemical of, oh my goodness, I can't think of the word right off the top of my mind at the moment, but it is a medicine that is used with very serious heart issues. And so this energy is both good and bad depending on the perspective and the person using it, right? You can be a individual who is having good intentions, and if you go and use this foxglove, you can use it to make medicine. But on the other hand, you may be an individual with bad intentions, and then you can go and use this foxglove to be a poison, in which case that's a mischief of a different kind, right? So I'm feeling that not so much that something here is still having bad intentions. I don't think I'm saying that quite right. The way it's coming through to me is that the negative forces, they have been doing their mischief making for hundreds of years, as far as we've been told. And with the collective being in the space that they're in now, this mischief is just, it's not landing the way it used to here. I think maybe that's what it's feeling like. They're still going to do the things that they do, right? And we can see this in our everyday lives. We can see this in the larger picture, in the everyday news media. These beings, these people, they're still out there. They're going to be what they're going to be until the day they pass from this reality. They're not going to change. So yes, they're always out there making their mischief. However, the collective has learned to navigate around that mischief in such a way that it's just not landing the way it used to. And I feel that it's causing some concern in the reality of those negative beings that have been here, causing so many detrimental issues. Okay, with the introspection card here, you have the pine, which is also a very healing plant. Okay, the pine, the sap of the pine is used for various applications, and while I'm visualizing the various uses of the pine, what I'm really feeling strongly or seeing strongly is the use of the pine sap to cover a wound, because if you have like a large bleeding gash or something like that, traditionally you could go and take some pine sap, warm it up a bit, apply it to that wound, and it not only seals the wound closed, it prevents infection or assists in cleaning the infection that may be present in that wound, right? And so again, this introspective situation that we have been in all this time away from the world, we have learned to kind of turn the tables on this mischievous being over here, that double-sided situation that I was talking about. We've turned the tables on that. We know now that we can take the negativity and turn it on its head, so to speak. So even though we might be dealing with negativity coming from different ways, different directions, in different ways in our lives, whatever that may be, we have now discovered that we can take that thing that we thought was a poison and turn it into medicine. And this has caused us to become more secure in our daily goings on and in going about our daily lives and things like that. So I feel that in terms of the bigger picture of this reading, this is a very positive reading, and though that mischief is there, what I feel is also this kind of a playful energy coming from the collective, right? These these animals here, the weasel and the marten, when tame, are actually very sweet, very playful creatures, right? And both of these creatures can get into a lot of mischief. However, when when tamed, like I said, or domesticated, you can make these creatures very sweet, very fun, very mischievous creatures. And so I'm feeling like the collective also, I want to point out that all of these creatures are in fact predatory. The weasel and the marten and the eel are all predatory creatures, but I'm pointing out the weasel and the marten specifically because, yes, while they are predators, as I said, they can actually be domesticated and tamed. And so the collective has learned also to acknowledge its other side, right? The side that is not only playful and sweet and adorable, right? We've been domesticated, so to speak, to be this kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of easy to handle. You know, when you recall what has happened in terms of colonization and white supremacy, we have been called savages, wild beasts, and things like that, right? And so the ultimate goal of these negative entities who have colonized us has always been to tame us into a creature that is easier to handle, that is sweet and doesn't cause problems. It wants us to be controllable, right? And for a time that worked out. However, you can't keep something tame forever and not expect for its natural instincts to come out. And so, what I mean is that the collective has realized and remembered that we are also capable of being savage, predatory creatures. We are not naturally predatory, no. However, again, with this double-sided energy, even though this colonizing force has attempted and in many ways achieved making us docile, tame creatures, it has also actually made most of the population savage, predatory, very dangerous to the environment. And that's simply not really the way we are. Like this eel here, we have protective instincts. We are able to keep ourselves safe. We're able to defend ourselves in various ways. And like I said about, at least in the case of the electric eel, it has the ability to electrocute something that touches it. And these other two creatures here, the weasel and the marten, they have very sharp teeth. Like I said, they're predators. They can take down snakes, birds, rats, you name it. They're very good hunters. They're very efficient, and they're very fast also. So they're good at running, they're good at hiding, but when it's time to come out and fight, they will do that. And that is very much the energy that the collective is in. And so now that we have remembered that it's okay to be a little bit savage, it's okay to be a little bit predatory, because you need that instinct in this reality. You've got to protect yourself, right? So we're prepared to make a little bit of mischief. That's what I was picking up when I first saw the card, because I love weasels and martens. I love that family of animals. To me, they are so adorable. They are just the cutest, sweetest things. They're so much fun to watch playing. They're so much fun to have as a pet if you've ever had one. I myself would love to have these creatures around me. I have had ferrets, which are also in the same species or class of animals, and they are fantastic creatures. I absolutely love these creatures. And when they are ready to make mischief, it is just the cutest thing you ever want to see. But at the same time, you have to remember that these creatures are dangerous. So, if you have one of these creatures and it's not, very, very tame, or it may be young, or you may accidentally hurt it or something like that, whatever the case may be, you've got to remember that thing has teeth. Okay? And if it bites you, you're not going to have a good time. And so I'm feeling that the collective is in that space. We're out here being just as cute and as adorable as we want to be. But if you mess around and come over here thinking that you're going to cause mischief, you're going to find that you're the one having mischief being played upon you. Okay? And so that is what I'm feeling that this energy is telling me. A lot of very double-sided energy here with these creatures, like I was just saying. You have on one hand this predatory, savage kind of energy, but on the other hand, this very tame, kind of sweet, adorable energy. And the same actually goes for eels too. While I'm thinking about it, I was thinking more about electric eels, which are kind of difficult to go around and hang out with. But in general, eels are very chill creatures. You can swim with eels, you can touch them, you can play with them. Very intelligent creatures. So all three animals here have this same energy. So the collective is feeling very secure. We are feeling very free to go out and kind of roam a little bit more. Maybe you're feeling like you've been in isolation for quite some time. And maybe you're feeling that, you see all these creatures looking outwards, looking maybe a bit curious, maybe looking around to see what they can go hunt or see what they can go do, play with, whatever the case may be. As I said, these are all pretty playful creatures, including eels. I feel that I've seen videos of eels playing also. But in each case, all of these creatures are looking outwards. And especially with this eel being in this dark black background, which for me is kind of like the present. I don't really read these as past, future, present, but in this case, I'm feeling like because that's a central card, it's central energy. So at this time, you may still be in your cave, your burrow, your hole, whatever, your safe space. But you're looking out. You're thinking, I feel like maybe I can step out a little bit. I feel that I can look around and see what kind of mischief can I get up into in the upcoming days, weeks, months, right? While things may be looking a bit iffy out there, for a certain group of people, we aren't really feeling the strain and the stress the way these other people may be feeling and experiencing, right? I talked about in some previous readings how there's going to be a lot of upheaval, a lot of things going on that is going to be causing a lot of stress, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of losses to certain groups of individuals and people in this reality because of the mischief they have caused in other people's lives. They're receiving their due karma for all the nonsense and all the detriment that they have caused in other people's lives. And so while they're experiencing that, as I mentioned, with all these creatures being predatory creatures, we're not feeling like prey out here anymore. Maybe that was the case some time ago, but that is certainly not the case now. we feel that we are capable of protecting ourselves. We're capable of applying the proper medicines if anything happens to go wrong. We've got it covered. No need to worry about it. Okay, maybe it's going to cause a little hiccup, maybe a bit of upset, maybe you might get a little angry here and there, whatever the case may be, but you're showing your teeth. You're showing your claws, collective. You're letting individuals and groups and people in your lives know you're not the one to mess around with in this time, okay? And so those people are very uncomfortable and very unhappy with this new energy that the collective is in. And so I feel like that's really a good place to end that. I think that that really sums up the energy in this case. And I'm really pleased to see the energy has finally changed into something different from my previous readings, because I mentioned before I had been getting the same energy for quite some time, and really I was wondering what is going on with the collective. And so now I have this energy that is giving me a lot more insight onto the collective as opposed to those other groups out there. And with that being said, I think I'll conclude here. We are not giving our energy and our attention to those groups, those organizations, those individuals that are out here causing mischief. They can continue causing all the mischief they want to, right? Because guess what? It's not going to get them anywhere anymore. Those days are over. They thought they had it in the bag when they were trying to tame and domesticate the collective, right? They thought they were going to keep us as tame, docile creatures forever, I guess, but they're quickly finding out that that is not the case. This planet has a natural way of being. The creatures on it have their natural instincts. And so you can only keep a certain kind of creature in that space for so long. I mean, think about a dog, right? We generally consider dogs to be very tame, very docile, very sweet creatures. And we often forget that a dog is an animal that can really, really hurt you, okay? And so, again, I think I can conclude it here. Those energies that we are no longer paying attention to, they are feeling very concerned about the fact that the collective has now remembered that we're not tame, docile creatures. You know, we could have been that had they done the right thing, had they done right by us, but they did not do right by us. And so they're going to find out that the cute little tame creature that they had as a pet is actually a savage, and it's going to be a bad time, okay? And so I think I'll go ahead and end it there. I really love that energy for the collective. So keep it up, collective. You are doing a great job. As I said in the beginning, your creative energy is so much stronger in this season. Your industriousness in this season, so much stronger. You are getting so much done, and you are being fantastically adorable while doing it, okay? And I hope that you continue in this energy. I know I'm going to be continuing this energy. It feels so good, right, to have thrown off that prey energy, that constantly feeling hunted down. Now we feel like the hunter in this game. And, you know, I said before, that double-sided energy. The tables have turned, and it's going to be really fun to see what kind of mischief we end up making out here. So I hope that you have a lovely rest of your day or beginning of your day, whatever time it is for you. And I will see you on the next reading. Bye.